It's Pahrump Nuggets $30,000 summer cash giveaway, and that's not all. Every day of the week in June and July, we've planned something special for you. Sundays, $1.50 bowling specials, daily drink and appetizer specials at the Gold Bar, hot seat drawings and the party cart. Earn up to 10 times the points 3 days a week. Thursdays in June, win a GPS. Thursdays in July, win a 32-inch HD TV DVD combo. Every Friday and Saturday, 10 lucky people will walk away with their share of $30,000. Where the fun never stops, Pahrump Nugget Hotel and Casino.
So far, we filed our petition, and of course, Coonsey and the commissioners decided they wanted it dismissed. So we had a hearing today where we came in with our response, and of course, it's pretty much like anything here in Pahrump. Of course, they said, "Oh, we're going to dismiss it." Lane did. But it was all sort of preliminary. We have to do this step to move it a little bit further up.
Dismiss what?
My petition or my lawsuit against them to get them to apologize and take it back. Oh, no, they're not going to do that. So they had Coonsey, I guess apparently they think the taxpayers have just pockets full of money that they can spend on this. And so they said they wanted our petition or our lawsuit dismissed. So he went in today, and Judge Lane was the judge, and he was able to get it dismissed, although I thought Nancy had a much better argument, but he kind of took this approach. He didn't really understand the law, so he just sort of let Coonsey decide, and that's how it ended.
So your case was dismissed. Where do you go from here now?
Well, there's a couple of things. We were talking to Nancy afterwards, Daniel and I were, and she was talking about a couple of things, but not being an attorney, I can't really I'd probably either not pronounce them correctly or not know what they are. But she noted a couple of things in there that we might refile here, and then otherwise we're going to federal court. In fact, Lane suggested, I get the impression he doesn't want to get involved a little bit. But still, he did suggest that, or mention it, I shouldn't say suggest, that we can file a civil case, for defamation. I mean, between the stress, the emotional, sleepless nights, the fear of driving up the road because of threats from the sheriff. I mean, this is all took a toll on me and my family and, work and, the people that I work. I can't let it go, or they'll think they can walk on anybody. But what was interesting today is I was just working on some preliminary paperwork before Nancy before we went to court, and I was sort of backtracking the times. And, the initial question that I sent to him was on a Friday afternoon. And then, all this other stuff they sent me. And then the weekend went by, and then on the 14th, they were still sending me emails. They were still fired up. Well, then shortly after that, Selwyn showed up from the PVT, and I was working, so I couldn't spend really any time with him. So then he took off. Then that would have been the 14th, correct? Yeah. So then the 15th. I don't know, forget what they did. I guess the 15th may or may not have been involved. But then by the 16th is when the paper came out with their 2-page editorial. And then it was the 17th, the day right after that newspaper, that I was served with this notice for hearing. In other words, they had spent, I guess, 24 hours, finding me guilty without even checking into anything. And I think that's really part of it. It's like an insult. You feel, I'm certain that there were quite a few involved. It was sort of premeditated, because how could anybody do that? I thought the law was that, you're innocent until proven guilty. They didn't give me any room to, rebut anything, nothing at all.
You're saying at this point that our sheriff is denying that he released the emails?
Yeah, well, I put that article in the paper on, it was last week, I think it came out in the Mirror, and the last little part, I think Caitlin went and asked him if he had sent the emails, and he says he vehemently denies that.
Right. And then also as well, you have told some people that you might be seeking a civil lawsuit for defamation of character based on some things that they are saying, especially with this recall effort, that they're saying things about you.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of this thing that Lopez is repeating, and that would even be Karen. And I know that everybody likes Karen. She does a lot of good things for the community. I don't know how she got caught up in this, other than the fact that I know Tony did a lot of advertising during the election when we were all running. But this Lopez gal keeps mimicking everything that's in the PVT, and we sent them a 4-page letter of retraction. You know, there's most of that.
What's going on with that? And
Well, they still have, I think we were talking about, I think they have another 30 days. And, you know, I have no choice. I'm going to have to, you know, probably Nancy won't handle that one. She's really doesn't want to. I'm going to have to go and get like big guns out of Las Vegas. But, you know, I'm going to go after them. They've run my picture how many days in a row, hoping somebody would, you know, put my life in jeopardy, you know, my family's life in jeopardy, my employees in jeopardy. I mean, they could have cared less. They just ran this over and droned on. And, you know, they took so much of this, like, you know, they said, well, she sent this email. Well, she was 4 days before she took the office. First of all, I didn't send that email to anyone. You know, so how they got it and how it was altered, that's what we'll see when we finally end up in federal court. But, you know, it isn't like exactly how they put it. And I remember one quote in there by Brian Coonsey, and I looked and looked, and I can't find it again, but I know what he said was, well, if we can't fire, he says since he can't fire me, they're going to reprimand me. Now, you know, Brian is from a totally different, I'm way on the right, he's way on the left. They're, you know, and so they're much more liberal. And, you know, he's pretty involved with those people. And I think I understand Kohlberger is somehow involved. There's probably some other people. We know it's Tony. So I think it's really more like a vendetta thing, you know, against me. And I guess they thought they were going to do enough that I would just resign, and then I couldn't do anything about it. They're probably shocked that I'm fighting it. But, you know, you have to stand up. You can't let him do that. I can't let him do that. You know, you can't do it to the citizens. You can't do it to anyone else. But, yeah, definitely if Lopez, I told her if she keeps repeating everything that's in the paper, she's already been made aware that all of that, well, the big majority of it without the little nitpicky stuff, you know, has to be retracted. And some of it, other people are asking to be retracted. That if she keeps just repeating the paper, she doesn't know me. She has no evidence. I have absolutely a clean record. You know, there's nothing. I'm not racist, never been racist, never acted, never done anything racist, ever.
So what do you think about the fact that she's going to be sending out these groups now and trying to get signatures for this recall?
Well, I can tell you something that's kind of interesting, is that I know that the same group of people that are kind of after me don't like the Concerned Citizens for a Safe Community. But I'm going to go ahead and put a reference in. Remember when they were recalling Butch? And all the different things they had to go through. Remember, they ultimately, everywhere they went to get signatures, they told them they couldn't go, and they ended up there in front of the Red Center. I think they painted a square in front of it, and that's the only place they could stand. They better do that to these folks, too. But I'm getting reports that they're in the parking lots, they're harassing people. Most of it's very negative. I don't think anybody's signing anything. They're saying that it's a survey and they're trying to get signatures, you know, and I guess there's been some actual fights where they'll come up to the people and the people say, mind your own business, you know, telling them, who are you? And get out of here, you know.
Do you have any place that you can go with this recall? I mean, what has Nancy told you as far as legal information?
Oh, well, you know, first of all, they won't accomplish it. But let's say they did. Then they have to get a candidate. Then you have to run a regular election. And, you know, I think most people would just vote me in again. I mean, no, believe me, none of Lopez's people voted for me anyway. I mean, so I'm not concerned about that. And let's say that does happen as a result of what the paper's done or what the commissioners have done. That just adds more fuel to my fire. You know, I'm going to, you know, that's another thing that we're going to take to federal court, you know. I mean, obviously, the commissioners, you know, have done everything they can to assassinate my character.
Are you including them in this federal lawsuit, or are you going to?
Yes. Oh, yes, definitely.
How's the staff and how's the job going here now?
Well, I have a great staff. They were a little apprehensive because, you know, here they read this. I knew when they were going to do the hit piece. And so I emailed them. I happened to be working in Tonopah. And everybody was kind of quiet for a while because nobody really knew. But I think they're now realizing and just working with me that, I'm not some crazy racist. I'm a normal, everyday, average person. But I certainly am entitled to my freedom of speech. And, I've lived right where all this is detrimental to the country. And it's unfortunate, but it's the truth. And I know it's hard for some people to swallow, but, those are the kind of things that go on.
Well, where you go from here now? You guys are looking to file that lawsuit?
Yeah, we will. Nancy, there was, again, like I said, she's, what'd you call it? She was going to file something else that she thought of. She just got back from surgery, so she's not feeling real well. So it'll probably be, we have a certain amount of time, but I want her to rest for a week. But here we're going to do something locally here. But then we're going to go ahead and file the papers with the federal court.